Well, given the history, you're likely not ready for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Double clench your butt cheeks, maybe even triple clench them if you need to. You don't have to like or subscribe. Let's get down to it. So shout out to Julian Dory. Roll it.
So there's diachronic change. There's also evolutionary change. But with regard to future humans, some are described as short grays. Whether those are our descendants or avatars or sort of biological droids, it's hard to say, because some don't have genitalia. Kind of need genitalia to make more babies, unless something's making you. And I kind of think that's the case with...
Okay, how do you know they have no genitalia? That's like a lot of information to be, truth be told.
These ones, the sort
Something's making you?
Yeah, the dickless ones are probably made by a future human who no longer is making robots. Like it ain't Elon Musk making something that needs oiled and breaks down mechanically all the time. But it's probably the extension of our gene engineering into the future, where you just create something that can do all of this stuff for you. Send them in first to get somebody. If you're abducting an individual and they're a big scary person, send them in first, and they're more expendable because they're something you created for this purpose. And if you look at Whitley Streber's account, he sort of describes these small beings as the muscle behind the operation.
For people out there who haven't seen Danny Jones' podcast with Whitley, which was a great episode, can you just explain, you mentioned him a couple times today, can you just explain who he is and what his experience was?
Yeah, phenomenal individual. Brief summary, he had a cabin in upstate New York.
There we go.
Had some strange experiences with people at his house. So there were other witnesses. Lights would come on. I thought his roof was on fire. And then we went to investigate, and light turns off. Not long after that, he had a shotgun by his bed, armed the whole house with an alarm system because he was freaked out. Like he knew something was happening. And then when he was first taken, he sat up in bed and he sees this small creature, like what I was talking about, sort of big
the
head,
gray
small
one
face, but wearing a kind of armor, and it runs toward him, and all of a sudden he's asleep. And then he ends up outside. He's interestingly sitting in a little beam of light.
So he was not sleeping, shotgun in hands, sees that little twat running around, and then bam, he sleeps, and then he wakes up in a UFO somewhere. Oh my god.
There's snow all around, but there's no snow where they're sitting. And it's cold, but it's not as cold as it would be, outside in this situation. But there
don't make sense, but all right.
You start to see other types as well. He's always with the muscle of the operation, as he describes it. But as he ascends into the ship, he starts to encounter a woman, a female presence. And what's interesting is in these cases, even when these beings...
So the alien baddie, right? We covered the case of Anthony Villas as well, which was an insane story. I'll link you towards the end, because this guy's story was absolutely wild, because he says that he was abducted by them aliens, and one of the alien bimbo came out and she got personal with him, okay? She got busy. Pause, I cannot say more than that. So she got busy, personal with him, and he apparently enjoyed it, but then he felt like that he was R-worded, because he literally was. He was concerned, but then, yeah, they parted ways, and she just went to the stars. So that's kind of like the brief version, but it goes deeper than that. I'll link you towards the end, all right?
Beings are seemingly so different from us, we can still sense kind of their soul or their personality. Something like a gender almost transcends the physical form to some extent. But he's in contact with this woman, and then he goes on to have a lot of other experiences. He even has sex with her once, that he writes about in a different book that he co-authored with Jeffrey Kripal called The Supernatural, I think it is. But
man, these aliens freaky, bro. What the hell? What the hell? So he got some, look, by the looks of it. Damn. And here brothers are like, hey man, it's kind of tough on Earth, and these boys be effing around them aliens. Damn, man, that's crazy.
Certainly, he sees different forms, 4 different types on the ship. And that's a really common thing across various experiencer accounts, is that there are different forms oftentimes working together, sometimes even with people, just normal everyday people in military garb, like Air Force uniforms, basically.
So he's seeing things that range from literally human looking to grays to mantids or stuff like that.
Damn. And okay, I understand why he bringing that up. For those of you that do not know, during a recent Congress meeting, they said that there are 4 types of alien species that are on this planet. The Nordics, aka the tall whites, they are very much like the Swedish people, the Nordics, right? Any Swedish guy watching this video would be like, bruh, hey man, I swear I'm not an alien, right? But no, we're not talking about you, homie. You good. You good, okay? We like you here, okay? We like you here. But apparently, that's the description given, okay? So Nordics, the tall whites, they blend with each other, with us, and they are considered to be the good ones, okay? They're tall, white, blue eyes, they're good. The Greys, however, 4 feet, 5 feet tall, they are the ones that made a deal with the United States government, according to a conspiracy theory. The Greyada tree, we did a video on it, right? So those are not good. They are the bad ones. They do the abductions, alien abductions, and they made a treaty with the government, and they gave the government their technology. In return, they just want to abduct some people for whatever reason, we don't know. I guess we do, but yeah, right? So there's that. Then we have the mantis, the insectoids, okay? Those are considered to be the prime, the best of the best, okay? They are technologically advanced. They are the smartest ones alive, allegedly. And then you got the reptilians. Now that I've said reptilians, the shapeshifters, YouTube is gonna give that, I'm not sure whether YouTube is gonna give it like alien abduction tag or the reptilian. It's gonna be interesting. Let's find out. You let me know what they labeled this video as. All right, let's get back to it. But before we get back to it, before I forget, I need to shout out the homie Jean-Le-Francois for the $10 super thanks, to the homie David, to the homie Matt for the 5, for the 2. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Like, you guys are way too generous on the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel. Let's get back to the content here. I also want to show you that, but okay, roll it.
I don't know if he ever described anything like
Grays to mantids or stuff like that.
I don't know if he ever described anything like that. Some of them he described as looking oriental, that they had eyes, face, everything just like ours. But essentially, I think he said they were slanted. So they looked like ours, but a little bit more oriental, or what we'd say East Asian looking. And then, yeah, the woman, the taller woman, to get back to height, she was taller, had gray alien type characteristics, but was in charge of the operation. She had higher consciousness, telepathy.
She was the boss, okay.
But then there were these ones that we called the muscle of the operation too, that were, I've come to think, possibly manufactured. And this is, obviously we can't know until we have them, and maybe we do have them, and maybe that's a part of these crash retrievals, that we could go look at them and study them and see if there is a difference between ones that are reproducing themselves and ones that are created in the image of those in our future, if they are future humans, who are making...
Yeah, another one of those conspiracy theory that the Greys are literally us from the future. The Nordics look like us, but they are the aliens, right? They are the ones that can blend with us easily. That's what it's being said, right? Like, maybe you come across one of those guys, one of those aliens, one of those gals, but you wouldn't know. You would think like it's an earthling, right? It's a human, but wrong. They're not, okay? The Greys, the bad ones, but apparently they are us from the future. That's a conspiracy theory, which, I mean, in a way, if they are bad and they are us from the future, it kind of makes sense, right? Because we're not that good, right? We're not that good. So I guess if that is true, then if any of this conspiracy theory is true, I would say the Greys are literally us, because they are bad and we're bad too, so yeah.
To perform various tasks. Those in our future, if they are future humans, who are making them to perform various tasks. And I would love to do that.
Yeah. Let's put a pin in that, because I do want to come to UFO crash retrievals later, but I want to stay with some of the experiencer stuff. So you had said, I think it was in your extratempestrial book, you had said something in the range of like 90% or something like that of people who report being abducted claim it was a positive experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's some qualifiers to that.
How so?
Well,
90% of the alien abductees have said that clench your butt cheeks, hide your holes. That's what they said. I don't know about that. Like, I don't know if they had a positive experience. They felt some way about it.
Well, first off, what you're referencing is the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Free Study. It's a survey of experiencers. So. At the time they published that in 2019, they had 3,500 individuals. And I always try to acknowledge problems with methodologies, and there are issues with surveys. People can lie, they can distort the truth. Sometimes they don't understand what is the truth. These are people who are willing to talk. You know, some people are less willing to talk. So there could be inherent biases in those two. 3,500 is a decent sample size. It's the largest for something like this. But there are they have added, I think they're up above 5,000 now because they're continuing this study. It's also important to talk about the sample. This is a multilingual international sample. It's not just a group of, you know, dudes from Omaha or something. Like, it's a pretty broad sample of individuals. So we can glean something from that. So individuals, importantly, and one of the main reasons I reference this study is to talk about the types, like what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And the majority that are seen are described as human. And no, human.
Literally human.
Yeah. Not even human looking. And this was something I screwed this up in my first book. Going to my second book, because I really just focused on the grays, and I didn't show just how much variation there was, or I was mostly just talking about how could we get there, what are some of the forces in our evolutionary past that would lead us to look like this. And obviously, you know, it'd be easy to say we live in space, we live underground, it's dark, that's why our eyes get bigger. Maybe, I don't know, but I try to stay away from speculating about those things and just focus on dominant trends that we can understand.
I don't want to speculate, but proceeds to speculate. Okay, now I'm joking. Terrible joke. I know. Okay, let's get back to it.
But in the study, the top reported type was human. And then after that was the short grays that we were discussing.
Top reported. Now, another one of those conspiracy theory. I know. But Dr. Stephen Greer said, whether you want to believe it or not, that's up to you. But he is one of those whistleblowers that have claimed that most of the abductions, the alien abductions that happen, it's the United States that's doing it, right? It's the deep state, dark ops, it's basically us as in us humans doing that shit, not like them little aliens out there, like them aliens getting the blame, because Dr. Stephen Greer is more like a proponent, is that the word? He's more like, them aliens are good, like if they were bad, we wouldn't be here, or I mean, in a way, it kind of makes sense, right? This is one of those arguments, like, okay, if aliens are real, if they exist, and if they're technologically advanced, like thousands of years advanced, millions of years advanced, well, they could destroy us, but they are not, meaning they are not hostile. Now, other whistleblowers, one of the Canadian Defense Minister, Paul Haler, he passed away, rest in peace, he came out multiple times, and he seems to be one of the most credible ones as well. Not saying Dr. Stephen Greer is not credible, not saying that, but different argument, right? Or different testimony. So Canadian Defense Minister, because he's a defense minister, his words carry a lot more weight, just like how Anna Luna Polina recently came out. She's our United States representative. Whether you want to believe her or not, that's up to you, but she came forward and didn't really present evidence, but again, because she's a rep, her words carry weight. Simple as that. She didn't show us any evidence whatsoever, but okay, she's also making insane claims, like interdimensional aliens, this, that, the other. That's what she said. We did a video on it. But Paul Haler was saying that there are different alien kinds. Again, makes sense. Other whistleblowers have said the same. But what Paul Haler also said was some of them are good and some of them are bad. Makes a lot more sense to me, right? Because if the universe, if what they say is true, like there are billions of planets, or I mean billions of galaxies, and within each galaxy, billions of planets, not just billions of planets, but billions of galaxies, and within each galaxy, billions of planets, mathematically speaking, we cannot be alone, right? Simple as that. Mathematically speaking, we cannot be alone. So how many species are we talking about? Certainly cannot be just us and then one other alien species. Gotta be like more than that, mathematically speaking again, right? So if there are multiple species, then some of them gotta be good, some of them gotta be bad. It's just the probability factor, right? Just playing with the probability factor here. So yeah.
Tall grays and then hybrids. After that was the short grays that we were type was human. And then after that was the short grays that we were discussing, tall grays, and then hybrids. And what I always point out, hybrids again? I'm sorry. Just a combination of the two forms. Okay. So like one example is Travis Walton. When he was taken, most likely an ambulance call because he was shocked by this craft. He wakes up in this bed with two short grays around him.
Damn. Imagine waking up to two short grays, bro. That's wild. So there are tall grays and also hybrids. Now, Antonio Villa's story is also pretty insane. So when he said hybrid, makes sense, right? Because one of them alien baddie R-worded the guy, and he said he enjoyed it for the time, but then afterward he was confused, he didn't enjoy it. That's what he said. I'll link you that story. And apparently that alien baddie wanted a baby. And I would say that's hybrid, right? Because if an alien species mate with a human, then, you know, whatever you create is gonna be a hybrid. So there's that one too. I mean, this rabbit hole goes insanely deep, bro. It's wild, man. It really is insane.
Didn't have a chance to check in their pants. It'd be really 2 short grays around them. Didn't have a chance to check in their pants. It'd be really interesting to know if they had genitalia or not, because it might help answer this question: is, are they all droids if we see the short grays, or are they just creating them in their image like we do with robots now? But then he escaped. He went in the control room. He's pushing buttons. They're like, no, bro, don't do that because you're going to crash our ship. And then he was approached by a man who looks just like a man, you know, tall, blonde hair, blue eyes, stocky build, and
probably a Nordic alien. Yeah, aha, that's the one. Okay, don't touch our ship, you're gonna crash it. Sadly or luckily, or I don't know what word he used, but okay, didn't have time to check under his pants. Pause, bro.
And then encountered other women and men who he said had sort of a familial connection, like they all kind of looked the same. So that would be an example of what we consider the hybrids, ones with sort of the archetypal gray alien form, but also a human form.
Right.
And we can come back to that too, like that hybridization program is kind of an important aspect of all of this. But
I'm sorry, Michael, I just, there's so many things here, I don't want to get lost in them, but from a detailed perspective, like, how can we explain seeing in the same place human, literally human looking, and grays?
Yeah.
If based, and maybe I misunderstood this, but based on what you were saying earlier about over time and things changing, that would suggest that those two beings are from very different future realms. Meaning, one, I'm just throwing random numbers out. One could be 200 years from now, another could be 200,000 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. I coined a term for that, temporal ancestry. So we talk about geographic ancestry now, where we have people from sub-Saharan Africa that have sort of lighter body builds, darker skins. They've evolved to the climate and the UVA light in that area, and evolved more melanin because of that. People from East Africa, or East Asia rather, Native Americans. So we can see snapshots of our evolutionary history now in this present time.
Yes.
In these cases of close contact where they see different forms with marked differences in their morphology, I think it's exactly that, like what you just said, that it's people coming back from different times or working together from different times for likely different purposes. They may have a variable reasons for wanting to come back and collect data on the human past, but they're likely all doing it at the same time to be less intrusive, to disrupt us and our timeline to a lesser extent. But what I always point out is based on the study. So you've got the human, humanoid, human-looking, human form, short grays, tall grays, hybrids. Every single one of those is an upright walking biped.
What?
That's the trait that defines our lineage. We are bipedal. And I've said 100 times that if what's getting out of these ships is some kind of squid or octopus or spider-looking creature, I never would give two shits about this because there's no connection to us. But that trait alone, and you could go past that. You could talk about the tetrapod characteristics, having 4 limbs, which goes back 400 million years on this planet.
400 million.
400 million. We share that with them. Pentadactyly, having 5 digits at the end of each limb. And there's some variation there. Some say they see 4, but for the most part, they have 5.
How do we know it's 400 million? That's so long ago.
The fossil record. We can see when that 4-limb characteristic started. And then Darwin actually pointed out back in the mid-1800s that makes no damn sense. Like, you use the same 4 limbs to do all of these different things. Whales got them, and bats got them, and we and horses and cows and all these ungulates. But it would make more sense if we just developed, if an elephant had 8 limbs instead of 4.
Whoa, what? I don't want to see like a 4-leg alien, bro. That, I guess then we're gonna get down to the territory of like horror and like a freaky alien, like a scary one. It kind of brings a picture in my mind of like that War of the Worlds movie, but that had, if I'm not mistaken, like, I need to rewatch it, that was so long ago, but yeah, right. I guess it had more like a robotic aliens, not necessarily like a flesh alien. That was the bad aliens, right? But had multiple one of those legs, right? 4 legs, but robotic legs, right? I do wonder if there is a species out there that's not flesh, but more like robots. But nah, right? That don't make sense, right? Does it? Yeah, it don't make sense, right? If there's, imagine there's a species out there that's fully robotic. Nah, it gotta be like a flesh alien species that would have created robotic aliens, just like how we are also creating robots and all that, right? You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? There's gotta be somebody behind them to.
But we take the same four-limb bow plan from 400 million years ago and just modify it for our purposes. That shows that we evolved together. We share a common ancestry, as we say. That's a synapomorphy, or a shared derived characteristic of all mammals, that we are tetrapods. So, importantly, all walking upright, all bipedal, therefore, we would classify them all as hominin. If we are reproducing with them, that's where the hybrid part comes in.
Watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please
Check out this video on the screen. This is the one that I was talking about earlier, the Anthony Villa story. It's a crazy one. Check it out and I'll see you right there. He talks about the alien baddie and we got a picture of her too, so check it out and I'll see you there.